Captain Theo Riggs was not supposed to be at the landing site. He was only there because his boss had caught the flu. And Theo was the next person on the list who could speak more than 2 alien languages without passing out. He wasn't a warrior or a hero, just a linguist with a side job in child psychology, thanks to his old career as a schoolteacher. So when the Zeraxi Empire, the most feared insectoid species in the galaxy, announced their first visit to Earth, Theo thought someone more important would do the talking. But no. He was given a stiff uniform, a small translator device, and told to smile and don't insult them. When the alien ship landed, it didn't touch the ground. It hovered, humming with strange energy. The sky above shimmered blue and green like water was boiling in the clouds. A wide ramp hissed down, and out came the Queen, tall, silver. Exoskeleton, 6 arms, eyes like glowing honeycombs, crown made of living beetles. Every world feared the Zeraxi Queen except for her baby, apparently, because clinging to her back was a screaming, slimy, furious little thing the size of a large raccoon, wrapped in royal silk and throwing objects made of crystal at nearby. Guards. Everyone in the Earth delegation stepped back, except Theo. He blinked, then whispered, "Is that thing throwing a scepter?" A Zeraxi royal guard gave him a slow nod. The translator crackled. "The first spawn is having an episode." Queen stepped forward. Her voice was deep and layered, like several women speaking at once. "Are you the human specialist of child rearing?" Theo opened his mouth, then closed it, then opened it again. "No, I mean sort of. I used to be a teacher. I've read a few books. I'm not a specialist. I'm just the translator." Buzzed and failed. A tiny spark shot out. The Queen looked annoyed. "I asked if you have calmed younglings before." Theo looked at the angry alien baby who had now bitten a guard's finger and was trying to climb a pillar. He nodded. "I've calmed younglings." The Queen stepped back. The delegation of alien soldiers parted. The baby looked at him. Theo stepped forward. He crouched low, hands up the way he used to approach kindergartners having meltdowns. "Hey, buddy," he said softly. "You're having a tough day, huh?" The alien child hissed, then threw a glowing orb at him. It hit Theo's forehead and bounced off. "Okay," he said, rubbing his face. "Strong arm." He glanced back.
Ow.
No one moved. They were all watching. Great, Theo thought. "I'm about to get eaten by a bug larva because I forgot to bring snacks." Then he remembered something. From his old backpack, still slung over his shoulder, he pulled out his emergency travel comfort item, a squeaky plush platypus, faded and stitched from years ago. He had used it to calm nervous alien diplomats' kids. Before he squeaked it once, the alien baby froze. It tilted its head, blinked, crawled closer. Theo squeaked it again. The baby reached out, claws twitching, and grabbed it. It made a happy noise that sounded like a vibrating drum roll, then curled up on the ground. Silence. Everyone stared. The Queen stepped forward. Her many eyes narrowed in what looked like surprise. Or maybe admiration. "You have calmed my first spawn," she said slowly. "According to the law of Soothe blood, I must offer." Bonding. Theo stood there, holding the empty backpack. "I'm sorry, what?" "Marriage," the Queen translated. Theo turned to the human diplomats behind him, looking for help. They had all quietly backed away. After the ceremony was postponed due to Theo nearly fainting, he was taken to a small waiting area aboard the Queen's royal heavy barge, a ship the size of a small moon. The baby was asleep next to him, still, hugging the plush platypus, now slightly chewed. A small translator drone hovered near his head. "Do not be alarmed," it said in a cheerful voice. "You have only been offered the highest honor known to our species." "I didn't even say yes," Theo whispered. "Refusal is delicate," the drone said. "To reject a Zeraxi queen in public is considered a declaration of insult or war." "War?" Theo coughed. "Yes," the drone said, "but do not worry. You have 7 planetary cycles to prove worthy. Many do not survive past 1. Theo stared at the wall. "I just wanted to teach alien kids the alphabet. Not marry a space queen and dodge galactic conflict." The drone beeped. "Congratulations, consort candidate."
Later that day, Theo met with Earth's diplomatic command via hologram. Captain,
Riggs, said the ambassador, a stern man with a nervous tic. You've made ... quite an impression. Stopped a toddler tantrum with a squeaky toy, Theo said. Now I'm engaged to a space beetle. She's the most powerful monarch in this region of space, the ambassador said. You've opened a door we didn't even know existed. Theo pointed at the screen. Open it back up and let me out. Look, the ambassador said, sighing. We can't afford to offend her. This is a major alliance opportunity. Just ... Keep her happy for now. Keep the baby calm. Keep the platypus handy. Theo groaned. And if the topic of marriage comes up, the ambassador added, smile and nod. Back in his quarters, Theo sat down beside the sleeping alien baby. Its body glowed faintly in the dark. It made gentle clicking sounds as it dreamed. He watched it, thinking of his old classroom. The way kids were loud, messy, emotional, but deep down, all they wanted was safety. Even this one. He didn't know how long he sat there, but just before he fell asleep, he heard a voice behind him. The Queen stood in the doorway. You are not like the others, she said. Theo looked up. I'm not sure I'm even like me anymore, he replied. You were not afraid. Was terrified, he said honestly. The baby needed someone. The Queen stepped closer. She looked down at the child. Then perhaps. You are exactly what my world needs. Captain Theo Riggs had faced many challenges in his life-forgotten passwords. Angry toddlers, and once a very stubborn vending machine. But nothing compared to waking up on a giant alien ship next to the firstborn of a galactic queen. Realizing he was now her future husband, the alien baby, still hugging the half-destroyed plush platypus, was snoring loudly beside him. His tiny wings buzzed every few minutes like a broken fan. Theo rubbed his eyes. Okay, brain, time to get serious. Find a way out, without starting a space war. A cheerful voice suddenly echoed from the corner of the glowing walls. Good morning, consort candidate Theo. It was Pebble, the AI assistant assigned to him by the Queen. Pebble was shaped like a floating teacup, with blinking blue eyes. Stop calling me that, Theo muttered. I'm not marrying anyone. The Queen has already sent out engagement announcements across 3 star systems, Pebble replied helpfully. Wedding hashtag is trending. Theo groaned. Of course, it is. Later that day, he was summoned to a royal breakfast meeting aboard the throne spearer room so big, birds could fly inside it. Giant silk banners floated in zero gravity. Zaraxi nobles clicked their mandibles politely and stared at him like he was a strange new pet. At the center sat Queen Zarzantha, regal as always, wearing a cape woven from starlight silk. Her baby was sitting on her lap, now chewing the head off a silver spoon. You slept well? The Queen asked, her voice layered like music and thunder. Theo gave a polite smile. As well as someone can sleep while sharing a room with a radioactive larva that glows in the dark. The nobles gasped. The Queen's eyes widened. Theo panicked. I mean, adorable, soothing glow. Very ... cozy. The baby burped fire. The Queen waved her claw. Everyone left the room, except Theo and the baby. You are not like the others. Who tried? She said softly. Theo tilted his head. Others, we brought in 27 nannies. 3 were robotic. 1 was made of lava. None lasted more than a day. Theo blinked. The lava one exploded, didn't it? Yes. Silence passed between them. Then the Queen said something Theo wasn't ready for. You've passed the first test. His drink? Wait. There are tests? 7. To prove yourself worthy of bonding with the crown. Can I take a written exam instead? That afternoon, Pebble led Theo on a welcome tour of the Royal Hy-Vee barge. It was like a floating city, a maze of glowing tunnels, training arenas, crystal gardens, and rooms filled with humming energy. This is the cradle chamber, Pebble explained, floating through a huge circular door. It holds the dreams of the next generation. Inside were dozens of glowing cocoons, each with a sleeping Zaraxi child inside. Watching over them was Dr. Emil Vargas, Earth's top sleep scientist, recently brought in by the diplomatic corps. Dr. Vargas? Theo asked. What are you doing here? The tired man looked up, holding a tablet, trying to stop alien babies from having cosmic nightmares. He pointed to a screen showing one of the Zeraxi children shaking in its cocoon, surrounded by dark energy. Turns out their dreams can cause minor reality shifts, Vargas explained. One of them had a nightmare about a giant spoon. Real one showed up and crushed the kitchen. Theo blinked. You're joking. I wish I was. Vargas leaned closer. By the way, Theo, be careful. That royal baby of yours, special. I scanned its DNA. It's connected to something powerful. No. Theo frowned. Powerful how? Before Vargas could answer, alarms rang out. Theo was suddenly pushed behind a wall of royal guards. Pebble shouted, Intruders in the nursery. Art's heart raced. The baby, it's with the queen, Pebble said. But the intruders were after the cocoons. Guards swarmed the cradle chamber. Theo followed behind, breathing hard. The air was thick with tension. Inside, 3 cloaked figures were trying to open one of the cocoons with sharp tools. Zeraxi guards fired energy nets, but the intruders moved fast, almost invisible. Theo didn't know what hit him. One second he was watching. The next he was tackling one of the attackers from behind. They both tumbled across the floor. The figure turned and hissed not a Zeraxi, but a different species. Thin, pale, with glowing green veins. You shouldn't be here, human, it snarled. Theo shouted, and you shouldn't be messing with space babies. Before he could get crushed, one of the cocooned younglings emitted a psychic shockwave. Everyone flew backward. The attacker screamed, then vanished into thin air. Theo lay on the floor, hair smoking slightly. Pebble floated over. Taziv move consort candidate. Your bravery has been recorded and posted on the royal feed. That night, Theo was summoned. Again by the queen. The throne room was dimly lit. The queen stood beside her baby, who was now calm, humming softly to itself. You fought to protect our young, she said. Theo dusted off his burned shirt. I also got thrown into a wall. You've passed the second test. Okay, Theo said, rubbing his face. What happens after I pass all 7? Do I get a medal? A spaceship? A vacation? You become a royal consort and father to the heir? Theo's mouth opened, then closed. The queen tilted her head. You still wish to refuse? He looked at the baby, even with its slimy wings, sharp claws, and glowing eyes. It had smiled at him that morning, just a little. It liked the squeaky toy. It trusted him. I don't know, Theo admitted. I didn't plan this. I didn't want this. Neither did I, the queen replied. She looked at the child. I was born to lead armies, not raise younglings. But, now I must do both. Theo understood that look. It was the same look his sister had when she became a single mom. Tired, brave, a little scared. I'm not sure I'm worthy, he said quietly. The queen touched his shoulder with a clawed hand, gentle, not sharp. Then let us both become worthy together. Later, back in his quarters, Theo lay on his bunk, loaded nearby, projecting news reports from alien networks. One showed Theo tackling the attacker, another showed the baby hugging the plush toy again. A third showed fan art of him and the queen. Holding hands, Theo sat up. Pebble, be honest. How many people are watching this whole ... engagement thing? Rough estimate, 1.2 billion across 14 systems. Theo fell back down with a groan. Would you like tips on public speaking, royal dancing, or mating rituals? I'd like some chocolate, Theo muttered. But sure, let's start with dancing. The baby cooed from the corner, and Theo somehow smiled. Captain Theo Riggs had once imagined marriage as something quiet. Maybe flowers, maybe cake, maybe a normal, non-radioactive baby crying in the background instead. He was floating through space on the Royal Hy-Vee barge, trying on an armored wedding. Robe made of beetle silk, while alien tailors whispered about which ceremonial spikes would suit his soft human shape. This one makes your shoulders look less breakable, said a bug-eyed designer politely. Thanks, Theo muttered. That's exactly what I want from a wedding outfit. Less breakable. Behind him, Pebble, his floating AI assistant, beeped happily. You're going to look wonderful, consort candidate Theo. The Queen has invited 50 royal houses, 3 planetary councils, and a jellyfish emperor who only communicates by interpretive dance. Theo sighed. All I did was calm a baby. Why is this still happening? Pebble replied cheerfully. Because calming a Zeraxi royal heir has not been done by any non-insectoid in 4,000 cycles. The people are calling it the miracle of the platypus. Theo put his face in his hands. Oh, stars. ... The wedding was scheduled in 3 days. But the palace felt tense. Guards doubled in every hallway. The Queen's advisors spoke in quiet clicks. And Theo noticed something strange. The Queen herself seemed ... worried. One evening, Theo found her in the egg garden, where royal children were prepared for their final stages of growth. Glowing pods floated around them. The baby was sleeping. In a nest made of soft vines, snoring gently with the plush platypus still in its claws, Theo stepped beside her. You okay? The Queen did not look at him at first. Her many eyes were locked on the baby. I have not told you everything, she said softly. Theo's stomach tightened. That's not a good sentence to hear before a wedding. My child is not just a future ruler. It is also the genetic key to our ancient weapon. Theo blinked. I'm sorry, did you say weapon? The Queen nodded. The Zeraxi were once protectors of this galaxy. Long ago we created the Escalith. Protocolla, living machine of war. It would only awaken if our race was threatened. The code to activate it was placed in royal blood. Theo stared at her. And your baby is the final piece. The machine will respond to its voice. Theo ran a hand through his hair. Okay, that's ... big, huge, dangerous. Why tell me now? Because someone else already knows, the Queen whispered. And they want to steal the child. Theo's eyes narrowed. The attackers from the cradle chamber. Yes, I believe they are part of the Mantid Breakers, a separatist group. They want war, not peace. Theo looked at the sleeping baby. You think they'll try again? The Queen's voice was firm. I know they will. Before the wedding. The next day, Theo had a meeting with Earth's ambassador Lee via hologram. This is out of control, Theo said. The baby is a walking password to a planet-killing super weapon. If the wrong people get it, the ambassador cut him off. That's why you need to stay close. Protect the child. Keep the Queen's trust. I'm not a soldier, Theo said. Not even a real diplomat. I was a teacher. Lee looked tired. Now you're the only person who can calm that baby. And keeping it safe might save our planet. Theo nodded slowly. He didn't like it. He understood. He had to stay. For the baby. For peace. That night, the baby had trouble sleeping. It twitched in its nest, glowing erratically. Pebble beeped in concern. It is entering a state of pre-metamorphosis, a growth phase. Theo crouched beside it. What do I do? Soothing music, gentle light, reassuring presence. Theo didn't have any instruments, but he had his voice. He started to sing softly, a lullaby his mom used to sing to him. Stars above, don't drift too far. Home is here, right where you are. ... The baby calmed. The glow softened. It curled around the plush toy. The Queen, watching from the shadows, said nothing. But her claws relaxed. The next morning, chaos began. Explosions rocked the Hy-Vee barge as alarms blared. Drones screamed through the halls. Pebble yelled, warning, hostiles in the upper wing. Multiple systems offline. Theo ran toward the nursery chamber, guards around him. Where's the Queen? He shouted. In combat, Pebble answered. She's fighting to protect the throne matrix. The baby is alone. Theo's heart pounded. Then we go now. They reached the nursery, where the child floated in its cocoon. Beside it stood a tall, thin alien in a black cloak, holding a device pulsing with red light. Step away from the child, Theo shouted. The figure turned slowly. Its eyes glowed green. The weapon will rise, it hissed. And you, little human, will watch your world burn. Theo picked up the closest thing, a dinner tray, and flung it at the intruder's head. Bonk. The intruder stumbled back. The cocoon began to crack. No, no, no. Theo rushed forward. Pebble's status metamorphosis triggered early. It's unstable. A beam of light burst from the cocoon, blasting the walls. The baby was changing, growing too fast. The attacker laughed. Too late. The weapon awakens. Theo ignored him. He climbed onto the platform, arms out. The baby's glow surged, its body shaking, its energy unstable. The Hivabarge groaned. Hey, Theo yelled. Look at me. The baby's many eyes flicked to him. You're not alone. You're safe. Just listen to my voice. The glow slowed. The shaking paused. Theo began singing a Ganofki, scared but real. Stars above, don't drift too far. The energy dimmed. The baby shrank slightly. Its wings folded back. The weapon didn't activate. Guard stormed in. The intruder was captured. Pebble hovered, projecting calming lights. Metamorphosis aborted. Child stable. Weapon lock disengaged. Theo slumped against the wall, covered in sweat. The queen arrived moments later. Her armor was dented, her crown cracked. She looked at Theo, and her baby safe, sleeping again. You saved my child, she whispered. And my people. Theo didn't speak, he just nodded. You've passed the third test, the queen added softly. Theo laughed, tired and shaky. What's next? Juggling fire? That night, the queen joined him in the starlight garden. They sat in silence for a while. You could have run, she said. I wanted to, Theo admitted. But I didn't. Why? Theo looked up at the stars, I guess. I care now. About the baby. About what this could mean. The queen nodded. Perhaps this is not the marriage we expected, but maybe 'tis one our people need? Theo smiled. Maybe. Captain Theo Riggs never thought he'd be in charge of preventing a galactic war, especially not with a teething alien baby strapped to his chest. But here he was, walking nervously into the Galactic Peace Assembly, wearing half of a ceremonial robe, the other half had been chewed, holding the most dangerous infant in the universe, and being called Your Honor Bugness by mistake at least 5 times. He looked down at the royal heir, who giggled and pressed a sticky claw against his cheek. Please don't glow today, Theo whispered, or explode, or chant in forgotten languages. Just ... Behave for 10 minutes. The baby sneezed, and a spark of blue fire drifted out. Pebble, his helpful and sarcastic floating AI assistant, hovered nearby. Reminder, if the baby releases another burst of psychic energy, all diplomacy efforts will collapse, and we may need to evacuate 12 moons. Theo groaned. Thank you, Pebble. Very comforting. The assembly hall was huge walls made of moving crystal. Seats floating in midair, alien leaders watching from their own oxygen zones. Some had tentacles, some had feathers. One looked like a stack of pancakes with eyes. At the front stood Queen Zarzantha, glowing in full battle ceremony colors. Her wings shone, her voice echoed across the chamber. We gather here to discuss peace, or prepare for war. A hush fell. Eyes turned to Theo and the baby. One ambassador from the crab-like Carnathy Union grumbled, Is this really the human who tamed the air? Another, from the squid-faced Urali Council, clicked its jaws. He looked soft. Theo gave a nervous smile. I brought snacks. The baby giggled again, this time causing several floating screens to flicker. After hours of serious talking, charts and galaxy maps, the queen stepped down from the platform and walked beside Theo. The assembly is split, she whispered. Half want peace. Half want to awaken the Escalith weapon permanently. Theo's stomach sank. Even after what we just stopped. Fear makes fools of leaders. Some want power more than survival. Theo looked down at the baby, who was now trying to eat a glowing crystal. So, what happens if they vote for war? They'll try to take the child, use it, control it. Theo shook his head. Not while I'm breathing? The queen gave him a rare smile. That is why you're still here. That evening, back on the Royal HFY barge, Theo sat in the baby's nursery, watching it sleep. Every night, the child seemed a little older, a little more aware. Sometimes it hummed. Sometimes it said strange words in Xeraxi that even Pebble couldn't translate. "It's bonding with you," Pebble said quietly. Theo looked up. "Is that good? It sees you as part of its hive. You are becoming family." Theo felt something stir in his chest. He hadn't said it out loud before, but he was starting to feel the same. Just then, an alarm blared. "Emergency alert! Unauthorized ship approaching. Shields breached." Theo stood instantly. "Where's the Queen?" "Still in assembly. You're the only one near the air." Theo didn't hesitate. He ran to the main hall of the HFY barge. Through the glowing doors, a strange fog poured in, silver and sharp-smelling. His eyes burned suddenly. A dark figure stepped from the smoke, tall, armored, and familiar. "Hello again, Theo." Theo's fists clenched. It was one of the manted breakers, the same species that had tried to steal the baby earlier. "You again? What do you want?" "The child, of course. It belongs to the war, not to your soft hands and lullabies." Theo reached behind him and grabbed a metal pole. "You'll have to fight me." The intruder laughed. "I was hoping you'd say that." The fight was wild. Theo dodged energy blasts, swinging the pole like a bat. He knocked over a stasis pod, ducked behind a control panel, and tackled the intruder. When they got too close, the baby, now awake and angry, began to glow. No, not now," Theo shouted. The child let out a cry that cracked the walls. The intruder stumbled. Theo punched them hard, knocking off their helmet. He froze. "Human," the attacker growled, bleeding from the lip. "Half-human, forgotten child of Earth's past wars. It behind, I joined the manted to rise again." Theo lowered the pole slowly. "You don't have to do this. You're not forgotten now." The attacker paused. Then activated a self-dash destruct, Theo shouted. "Pebble, get us out of here!" Seconds before the room exploded, a force shield wrapped around Theo and the baby. Pebble had activated an emergency pod. They crashed into another hallway, smoke trailing. Behind them, the Queen arrived moments later, flanked by royal guards. She looked at the scorched walls, the attacker's remains, the glowing, crying child. Then at Theo burned, tired but alive. "You fought alone?" Theo shrugged, mostly just panicked with style. The Queen walked toward him, eyes soft. "You have passed the 4th test." Blinked. "Wait, that was another one?" "Yes," she said. "The test of loyalty and of heart." He looked at the baby who had stopped crying and was now nuzzling his arm. He smiled despite everything for down. 3 to go. That night, as the ship returned to orbit, Theo stood on a quiet balcony outside his quarters. The stars shimmered. Far away, a supernova glowed red and gold. The Queen joined him. "The Assembly will vote tomorrow," she said. Theo nodded. "They choose war. Then we leave. Disappear. Hide the air. Never return." Theo turned to her. "You'd give up your throne?" She looked at the stars. "I'd give up everything to protect my child." Theo reached into his pocket, pulled out the half-burned plush platypus. "Then I'll go with you. You won't do it alone." The Queen's many eyes blinked. She reached out and took his hand. The next morning, Theo dressed in ceremonial robes again. His body ached. His hair was still singed. But he stood tall. Beside the Queen and her baby, the Assembly gathered. A vote began. One by one, ambassadors cast their choice. Peace or war. Theo held his breath. So did the galaxy. The assembly hall was silent. Every ambassador watched as the votes were tallied. The fate of the galaxy rested on a single decision: peace or war. Theo stood beside Queen Zarzantha, holding the royal baby close. The child's glow pulsed softly, as if it sensed the tension. The votes appeared on a glowing screen above them, a flickering icon representing 1,000 voices. Peace, 42. War, 41. Theo let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. The Queen's voice rang out, calm and strong. "Let this be a new beginning. Our worlds joined in peace, not shattered by fear. Cheers erupted from half the room. The other half looked stunned, some angry. But before celebrations could begin, alarms blared. Suddenly the crystal walls of the assembly cracked. From the shadows emerged a group of manted breakers. The separatists who wanted war, their leader, stepped forward, a fierce female warrior with sharp claws and blazing eyes. "You have chosen death," she hissed. "The Escalith will rise anyway." Theo moved instinctively, stepping between the baby and the intruders. "You won't get near this child," he said fiercely. The queen raised her hands, wings spreading wide, energy glowing around her. "Guards, protect the assembly." A fierce battle began. Theo fought alongside the queen, dodging energy blasts and swinging whatever he could find, tables, chairs, even a giant crystal vase. The baby began to cry, its glowing intensifying. Theo froze. "No, not now," he shouted. But the queen's voice was calm. "It's calling the weapon. We must calm it." Theo looked at the child and remembered all the times he'd soothed its songs. Soft words, quiet presence. He knelt, holding the baby gently. "Hey, little one," he whispered. "It's okay. You're safe. You don't have to fight." The baby's glow softened. Theo began to sing. "Stars above, don't drift too far. Home is here, right where you are. ... The baby's cries slowed. The glowing dimmed, the attackers hesitated, their energy fading. Queen Zarzantha stepped forward. "The weapon will never rise as long as love and trust protect it." With a wave of her hand, the manted breakers were surrounded by binding light. The assembly guards arrested the invaders. Peace held. Days later, the wedding ceremony took place. It was unlike anything Theo had ever imagined. The queen wore shining robes of gold and silver. Theo wore his beetle silk armor still, with a few chew marks. But proud, the baby sat between them, smiling and glowing softly. The galaxy watched as two very different worlds joined. Theo held the queen's many hands. "I never thought I'd be here," he said softly. "Marrying an alien queen, calming a super weeping baby." The queen smiled. "I never thought I'd trust a human with my child." They looked at the baby together. Theo whispered, "We'll protect you, no matter what." The queen nodded. "Not together." The years that followed were filled with peace and discovery. Theo learned the ancient ways of the Zaraxi. The queen learned the simple joys of human laughter. The baby grew, strong and kind, a symbol of hope. Theo often thought back to that first moment when a tiny alien baby needed a simple human voice. He smiled. Sometimes, the biggest adventures come from the smallest acts of kindness.